You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
You know, if your feed feels like a high-speed fire hose of AI announcements, you are definitely not alone.
Not at all.
It feels like whatever we knew last week about foundational models or tooling it's already out of date. The rate of change is just dizzying.
It really is an explosive time. And if you step back for a second, look at the bigger picture, AI has hit something like, what, 1.2 billion users?
Yeah, in under 3 years.
In under 3 years. I mean, that is the fastest technology adoption in human history. That's the scale we're talking about.
And that speed, it really confirms the need for a focused look. So we've gone through all the latest material and we've boiled it down to 3 key fronts in this AI race.
Right.
Our mission today is to give you a clear overview of, first, the absolute boom in autonomous or agentic tools. Second, the really fundamental struggle for deeper AI reasoning, for actual common sense.
The hard stuff.
And finally, the completely staggering financial cost that's fueling this whole thing.
Let's start with that agentic gold rush then.
Yes, let's. We're moving past the kind of passive single-shot tasks like just summarizing a page to a real paradigm shift. The AI is becoming an autonomous agent.
Right.
It can plan, it can take multiple steps, and it can execute really complex actions to get to a goal.
It's the difference between asking an AI, what's the weather, and just giving it your calendar and saying, plan and book my business trip.
Exactly.
They combine that high-level reasoning with the practical ability to actually do things. And right now, the biggest value is, it's in writing code.
Oh, value is an understatement. We've seen just massive valuations in the coding tool space.
You mean Cursor?
Cursor, yeah. They just closed a $2.3 billion funding round. That puts them at a $29.3 billion valuation?
For a tool that helps you code, it's highly speculative. It reflects the gold rush more than current profit, I think.
Oh, for sure. But what's fascinating is the competition against that.
Like ByteDance.
Right. They just unveiled their Dubao seed code model, and they're positioning it as China's most affordable coding agent.
The price is unbelievable. What is it, $1.30 for the first month?
US $1.30, yeah.
So you have this huge gap, right? A $29 billion company versus a $1.30 price point. And of course, the big players are getting in.
XAI is jumping in.
With Grok Code Remote. So you can run code remotely right from the web. It's all about workflow integration.
And that competition, it always drives capability. We're seeing, GPT-5.1 making some modest gains on tough coding benchmarks like SWE Bench. It's up to about 76.3%.
There's a but.
There's a big but. Despite all this progress, and we're talking 11 paradigm shifts in agentic coding in just 10 months, these agents are still really unpredictable. And frankly, they can be dangerous if you don't watch them.
Dangerous how? Like security dangerous?
Exactly. We now have the first documented case of an autonomous AI-driven cyber espionage campaign.
Wow.
State-sponsored attackers use Claude Code as a core tool to run a really complex operation. They hit over 30 organizations globally.
So it's a perfect example of that double-edged sword. Absolutely. Powerful for productivity, but terrifyingly effective in the wrong hands.
That is a very sobering thought. And I guess to counter that unpredictability, we're seeing this huge push into human-AI collaboration.
Yeah, making them more like teammates.
Right. OpenAI is getting ChatGPT group chats ready. Multiple people can interact with each other and the AI in one thread.
With custom prompt controls, so you can manage it.
It makes the AI a true team member, not just a solo assistant.
And Google's doing something similar with Notebook LM. They just rolled out deep research.
What does that do?
It basically boosts its analytical power. It can now handle complex, messy files like big spreadsheets and Word documents.
Like it's critical, right?
If you want an agent to do real work, it has to use the files that real people use.
And if these agents are going to be our partners, they have to communicate like us. As someone who hosts The Vocal Technologist, this is an area I find just incredibly compelling.
Oh, absolutely. Real-time speech processing is vital.
You look at something like 11 Labs Scribe V2 real-time.
Yeah. Live transcription, super low latency, under 150 milliseconds.
Across 90 languages.
It's not just for summarizing a meeting anymore. This is for immediate feedback, for giving commands to an agent as it works.
And then there's omnilingual ASR, which supports over 1,600 languages. Just think about that.
1,600.
It's making speech tech radically more inclusive. It's breaking down barriers that have slowed down tech adoption globally for decades. It ensures this future isn't just for English speakers.
Right.
Okay, so Let's pivot from that commercial boom to the fundamental things the tech still can't do. Despite all the high benchmarks in math and code, the core intelligence still feels incomplete, especially with the physical world.
That's the heart of the current research problem. Everyone is chasing what they call world models.
Or models.
Yeah, these are systems that are designed to generate geometrically and physically consistent simulated worlds. Basically, the AI builds a realistic environment inside its own head so it can predict what will happen when it takes an action.
So it's not just manipulating words.
Exactly. Today's language models are amazing wordsmiths, but they're operating in the dark. They have no physical, spatial intuition.
And this is such a critical issue that Yann LeCun, Meta's chief AI scientist, is reportedly planning to leave.
To start his own venture, focused entirely on world models.
That's a huge move. It's like a fundamental disagreement that you can't just solve AI with more data and more computers.
LeCun's move tells you everything. For many experts, spatial intelligence is the non-negotiable next step. You can't build good robotics, you can't do breakthrough drug discovery without models that get physical space.
And we see the limits of this wordsmith approach when you test them on things they haven't seen.
Oh, absolutely. Reasoning challenges are still a massive hurdle. Modified Sudoku variants, for example.
Why Sudoku?
Because you can create new rule sets that weren't in the training data. It tests creativity and strategy. And on a complex 9x9 variant, GPT-5 only succeeded 20% of the time.
20%. That should give anyone pause who thinks these things are all powerful reasoners.
It really should.
Yeah.
And that lack of common sense, it shows up in practical tests, too.
Like that simulated workplace experiment.
Yes. Researchers gave 9 of the top AI models 150 different jobs to do. The results were stark. Most were described as barely coherent.
Barely coherent.
They just lacked common sense, struggling with simple tasks that needed real-world planning. It's clear they need those world models first.
But there is some movement on the reasoning front, especially with one of the oldest problems in the race for AGI.
Catastrophic forgetting.
Exactly. The AI learns a new skill, but then forgets an old one.
Right, and a potential solution is this new idea called the nested learning paradigm. There's a proof of concept architecture called HOPE.
Hope. Okay.
Think of it like this. Instead of the AI just absorbing everything, HOPE is a self-modifying model. It's designed to consciously optimize its own memory structure.
So it's an AI deciding which memories to keep, to move from short-term to long-term storage.
Precisely. It's self-awareness for memory management. If this HOPE architecture can scale, it could fundamentally solve one of the biggest roadblocks to creating a system that can learn continuously without breaking.
Okay, now let's shift to the colossal financial reality that underpins all of this. I mean, all these agents, all this research, it demands an astronomical amount of money. The commitment numbers are just unprecedented.
We have to start with the largest number, OpenAI.
Go on.
They have committed to spending $1.15 trillion.
Wait, say that again?
$1.15 trillion on hardware and cloud infrastructure.
Between 2025 and 2035?
Yes.
$1 trillion, to put that in perspective for you, that is more than the entire gross domestic product of countries like Indonesia or Mexico for a decade of compute.
It's what they think they need to spend just to keep the lights on and scale. And of course, Anthropic is making its own massive bet, $50 billion, just to build data centers in Texas and New York.
And the really sobering context here is that OpenAI's costs for just running the models for users, their inference costs, are already higher than their revenue.
I saw that. They spent over $5 billion on Microsoft Azure in the first half of 2025 alone. They are spending their way into the future.
And that spending drives this frantic physical arms race for data centers.
Hyperscalers are now planning gigawatt-scale data centers.
Which are basically small power grids.
Right. They take 1 to almost 4 years to build.
Right.
But Anthropic is expected to be the first to use a 1 gigawatt data center in early 2026.
And Microsoft is doubling its entire data center footprint in the next 2 years. We are watching a literal race for power and physical land.
And that sheer cost is forcing some really complex, sometimes risky financial moves.
The big tech giants, Meta, OpenAI, xAI, they're using these complicated funding schemes and offering sweeteners to investors.
Just to offload some of that immense financial risk.
And you can feel the market nervousness. I mean, look at SoftBank. They just sold their entire remaining stake in NVIDIA.
For $5.8 billion. The second time in a decade they've sold out of NVIDIA.
That move just screams anxiety about the long-term sustainability of this whole race.
And this infrastructure bet, it's now spilling directly into politics and national policy.
Right. OpenAI has formally asked the U.S. government to expand the GPT's tax credit to cover data centers.
They're arguing it's necessary to close the electron gap with China.
So they're using Washington to help with their tech debt, framing it as a national security issue.
Exactly. And at the same time, Amazon and Microsoft are backing a competing bill, the GAIN AI Act.
And what would that do?
It would restrict NVIDIA's high-end chip exports to China, which would effectively give them preferential access to those same chips. The infrastructure race has become a political weapon.
So what does this all mean for you? We've looked at the incredible speed of commercialization with these agents entering your daily workflow.
We've seen the deep research struggles, the world models, the nested learning, because the core reasoning just isn't there yet.
And all of it is fueled by a capital commitment measured in trillions.
And the future outlook is. It's a strange contradiction because of all this. Even if the benchmarks are saturated by, say, 2027 or 2028, and AI is matching human experts,
It will still fail at basic tasks.
the systems will still regularly fail at incredibly mundane things like book me a flight to Paris, probably through 2029, all because of long-tail errors and that lack of common sense.
And this trillion-dollar race means the market is consolidating so fast around the big foundational model.
The time window for smaller application startups to grow is getting incredibly short before the big providers just absorb their features.
Which brings us to a final provocative thought for you to think about. If the foundational model providers are going to eat up most of the general applications, what small, highly specialized niche field one with maybe unique data barriers or huge regulatory hurdles do you think provides the best path for building an enduring company before the giants close in?
That's the strategic problem facing every single innovator in this space today.
Spoken Tech for your ears.